Hi fellas, my name is Alessia and I've been struggling to make this video for maybe 4 to 5 months now. Now, hearing me say that, you may be wondering what the problem is. You may be thinking I'm a little stupid, perchance, and I couldn't possibly argue with you on that per se, fellow viewer that I don't know. However, the reason why tackling this topic has been difficult for me is because I have extremely aggressively strong feelings about it that I have not been able to properly put into words without sounding either like I'm A, absolutely smooching Infold's ass, or B, like I'm disrespecting the huge work that the company's employees have put into this project before and since it launched back in December 2024. The reason why I want to make a video about a video game I normally wouldn't tackle on this channel is because it's been unironically such a big part of my life and has completely influenced my schedule for an entire year already, and has even gotten me to spend less time playing other games because it's just so genuinely addicting that I couldn't help myself. And now that I've been 2 to 3 weeks sober and have been properly working on this video, I want to tell you a story. Story about how I played precisely 733 hours of Infinity Nikki in the span of 348 days, and how it quite literally consumed my soul and, most importantly, my time. Now, if by chance you don't know what this game is, Infinity Nikki is an early access gacha open world and dress-up game made by Infold Games, a company that you may have heard about, having made not just Infinity Nikki, but also the other dress-up games in its franchise, such as Love Nikki and Shining Nikki, as well as the rather infamous romance sim Love and Deep Space. Infinity Nikki is the first open world game Infold has made, and I would say they did amazing with it, almost. I wouldn't have played this game for so long if I didn't like it. Keep that in mind while you're watching this. The game came out on the 5th of December 2024, and I have been playing it since the 30th of January 2025 up until this point. It's gone through a fair amount of changes, backlash, and controversies since its release that I have no choice but to talk about because they have and still do heavily influence my opinion of it, hence why I'm so conflicted about this video. First though, let me paint you a picture about what Infinity Nikki is about. The original story of the game, and I say original because it has been quite heavily altered in a later update, centered around our two main protagonists. Nikki, who's this sweet and maybe occasionally ditzy, but still pretty chill and heroic pink-haired girl, and her cat thing, buddy, pal, bestie, Momo, who's this feisty, sassy, but not jolly figure who really likes barbecue and is so me. For real, for real. Technically, I'm sure people would say Nikki is the protagonist, but considering the fact that Momo is glued to her at all times and has like a personality and thoughts and opinions and acts in tandem with Nikki and is always there, and the storylines also heavily involve him too by default, I'm personally treating them as a unit. So, in the original game's introduction, Nikki and Momo are trying to find a cute prom dress for Nikki in their house's attic. She is around 18 years old and graduating and lives in a normal, non-magical world, despite Momo looking like that. The pair find this flaming magical dress in this Narnia-esque closet that takes her dancing through a magical portal to a brand new, very Dark Souls-looking dimension. After walking around, collecting things, and committing heinous crimes in the name of the Stylist Guild, she meets this mysterious figure, Aina, who grants her the Heart of Infinity, which, to put it in simpler terms, is the menu where you use the things you collect in the world to unlock miracle outfit sketches to craft miracle outfits. Nikki now having this heart quite literally inside of her, she gets visions of where she's supposed to go to find inspiration to craft said outfits in an effort to use their combined powers of good to save the world from the plague of dark magic putting it in danger. This world I'm talking about isn't Nikki's non-magical Earth, by the way, but a completely new dimension called Mirrorland. Nikki is thrown in it and is now given free reign to go wherever she wants and to aid Mirrorland's residents and look super cool while doing it. That's about as simple as I can make the game's story for you. That's quite literally all it was. This game was promised to be a cozy fest of open world wandering and dressing up and beating up monsters and doing quests and collecting items to craft outfits and getting into cool styling battles. Why am I putting so much emphasis on the storyline, you ask? Well, I want you to know and to remember the good old days, right before Infinity made the decision that in return got its entire player base upset and in an uproar with them. You might as well throw into the bin what I just said earlier, because the story of the game was drastically modified into a bit of a mess. Let me take you to update 1.5 of the game. In this version, Infinity wanted to introduce a beloved Nikki franchise fan favorite outfit from their other dress-up games called the Sea of Stars. Wanting to make it both a miracle outfit and also not a banner, so it would be free for all the players, but not being so sure about to properly integrate it within the game's lore, Infinity did a bit of an oopsie daisy, if you will, a bit of a critical error. And this is where the first issue with the game, and the first controversy that I know of, comes into place. The Sea of Stars FIASCO. Infinity decided to completely change the game's intro. Completely. Utterly. And sure, although it may look pretty and sparkly and glittery and maybe has a more visual appeal than the first one, it heavily dragged on and it did not add to the game experience in a pleasant way, nor was it helpful or easy to comprehend for new players who had to experience it. In the new intro, Nikki wakes up in this void-like dimension where she is introduced to the Seer, a godlike figure who pretty much controls the whole universe and whatever galaxies even exist in this video game. This may sound like a lot, so please strap in while I also try to make sense of this mush yet again after not long enough. Nikki is no longer just a human. No. She now has a magical destiny to save not only Mirrorland, but also every single other dimension from being destroyed. We are also introduced to the fact that Nikki isn't only one Nikki anymore, but there's hundreds, if not thousands of her and Momo. By the way, don't forget about Momo. Every single dimension has a Nikki ruler, so to speak, and a Momo housecarl. What would he even be? I don't know. Point is, from this point forward, Infinity has decided that the game will have a multitude of dimensions that you would have to travel to in order to pretty much replace or become their Nikki and save them from their impending doom. And all those dimensions would be very neatly all connected in the Sea of Stars. No, not the dress, but the new online multiplayer hub that they also wanted to add into the game. Wow, and it worked out so well, you must think, right? Wrong. It went literally the worst way it could have possibly gone. And it's kind of giving the day before. Actually, don't call me on that, that's gonna be... But you'll see why I'm saying that in a second. On the launch date, I do not think there was a player who didn't have problems with the new co-op functions. Everyone encountered bugs. A lot of players weren't even able to log into their game because of the technical issues. I happily was mostly unscathed, but I still mourn the mobile players especially, and what they must have gone through. I can't even imagine playing this on a phone. We got so much free shit as a compensation, and unofficial "we're sorry" from Infinity, rightfully so. They evidently rushed the update and bit off far more than they could chew. They honestly wanted to do too many things at once, and you know who took the fall and who had their time wasted and all the consequences happening to them? The players. And despite heavily appreciating the apology gifts, it was still a very nasty scene, and although it's been a little less than a year since then, and Infinity has honestly held up rather well and the game has worked pretty decently from that point on, it's not just the bugs that were the issue. The new intro is still the current one. We still have a shitty die system that we weren't supposed to have in this inconvenient way. We still have the boring co-op area that's so much lamer than it sounds, by the way. We still have the 11-piece banner outfits that will still rerun one day. We still have the... Wait, I didn't talk about the banners yet. One more problem. Infinity Nikki is a gacha game, and here we have fun things like limited monthly 5-star and 4-star banners, a shop that I'll be demolishing later, not in a good way, and a bunch of in-game currencies, half of which we wouldn't even need if things would have gone well with an Infold building. So, I was just talking about the 1.5 version, right? Well, in this one, we had 2 limited 5-star banners. In one of these, you have a pompous 5-star outfit everyone's excited for, and a chiller 4-star outfit. It's a little chiller, a little less, you know, but still pretty cute. 5-star outfits typically have 10 to 9 to even 8 pieces. Same goes for the 4-star outfits. 5-star outfits also have 3 evolutions, as well as a base form and a glow-up version, which is what you get when you fully raise the outfit's styling stats. The difference between evolutions range from simply getting more dye options, or even getting a new makeup set and alternate details, aka a slightly different version of the outfit when you reach its final form. 4 stars only have a base form, glow-up version, and 1 evolution. Now, how a banner works is that when pulling on it, you are guaranteed to get at least 1 piece of its 4-star outfit in 10 pulls. The 5-star outfit is just a little bit different. You're guaranteed at least a piece of it every 20 pulls instead. If you did the math, which I can't help myself but do, my brain works on its own, you would see that it takes the average player 200 pulls to get the entire base form of a 5-star outfit, as well as both the base form and evolution of its 4-star. To get all evolutions of a 5-star, you would need to pull in average 400 times. Now, let's get to the controversy now that I filled you in with those little details. The 2 banners we got in 1.5 are the Crimson Feather, this cool Phoenix Fallen Angel outfit, which was not my vibe at the time, and Snowy Ballad, this ethereal mermaidy outfit, which as a forever H2O fan and Pisces I legally had to have in my closet. Remember how I said the norm for piece numbers was 10 max? Well, Infold forgot. Initially, Crimson Feather, in the intro cutscene anyway, evidently did not have any tights. That was an outfit piece we could clearly see missing in the intro, compared to the finished product. The same I cannot say about Snowy Ballad's jewelry socks. I do see them in the intro, but one thing that I can say is that at how long and voluminous this dress and skirt are, neither of the outfits needed the socks. I mean, why at this point do we even add ties to dresses that are so gigantic and puffy and lack any cuts that could even show the leg off a little bit? I understand why, for example, Crimson Rhapsody has tights, because the dress is molded so you can see Nikki's legs, and most importantly, the Lolita stompers. But this one, what are we doing, Infold? Same with the Tide of Tears, which is maybe my second favorite outfit in the whole game. Does it need the tights even? They look dope as hell, don't get me wrong, I love them, I couldn't get them, but you can't see them through the dress. Why bother? I just don't get it. I get why they did it with Crimson Feather. It was to make it so it takes players 220 pulls instead of 200 to get the full outfit, and maybe frustrate them enough to use their credit cards instead of doing quests to get the diamonds for it. Which reminds me of my next issue to address. You know, I suppose I have to properly talk about the elephant in the room. I have mentioned this game as a gacha, you know, you're well aware, you know this, I've told you, you know this, remember? And I have to say off the bat that I am not a gacha fan. In fact, I can't stress enough how much I hate in-game purchases in any game in general. I hate that we can't just buy a finished game once anymore and everything has to be unfinished, and oh, but you'll get it in the next part in the next update, and oh, does this activity seem annoying? Here's an ability to make it easier for you. Give me $40, you know? Like, I don't want to pile my complaints with this model just on Infinity Nikki in particular. It's not the first one, it's not the only one, there's thousands, there's gonna be thousands more, because that's just how the world works for now. This one just happened to reel me in enough to make me stay, but not enough to monetarily commit, but enough to give it all my time instead of all my wallet. This guy's got half my wallet. Sorry. Let's talk about the game's shop. Let's not skim this. Let's really give it time, because there's a bunch of stuff to talk about in here. We've got it all. Fake discounts, my favorite demonic entities tiered purchases, stellarite packs, dye crystal packs, yuck, some other crystals that don't matter and work like the stellarite ones anyway, which work like the resonite ones, which you can technically get for free if you have diamonds, but if you don't, look, you can buy them here. The resonite shards, shop outfits, daily login and collect paid rewards. If you're out of anything, literally anything, you will find it here. Unless if you brought your monthly minimum already, in which case you gotta wait like 29 more days. Sorry, buddy, but that's just for the freest shit. If you want to get the shards you need to pull on the banners, you can get as many as you'd like. Look, check this out. There's 100 pulls in this bundle. Oh wow, that would help a lot. Oh, it's only $100. Okay, I'm pulling your leg on this one. Well, no, I'm not. That is what it costs. I didn't like put writing on it or something, but I was nitpicking here. My problem, if you couldn't tell, isn't because of the prices of everything per se. The issue I have with it is that it builds a habit in the easily susceptible player. You say, hey, it's only $3, yoink, once, and then suddenly it snowballs into you buying more and more across all of the time you've spent in this game, and a few months in you could stop and realize, hey, ever since I started playing this game, I spent a total of $599 on virtual dresses. I can't even have IRL unless I were to spend even more dollars making them for myself, which it would be cool to transition from buying clothes in games to actually making those clothes and cosplaying, but most people don't exactly go that route. Point is, your yearly Nikki spending wrap may be even worse, or less than that, depending on what spending habits you end up succumbing to like a zombie. When every purchase adds up, it's not just $3 anymore. You're left with a problem, not just because some of your money's gone, but because you can't stop yourself from spending more. I know we live in a world where gambling is quite literally everywhere you walk. Going outside, I can't even walk like 5 minutes without finding a casino. You don't have to tell me, it's insane. I'm aware of that, and I'm aware that crime is legal. Shout out CoffeeZilla. But just because this is the state that our world is in, does not mean that we just have to take it in and mindlessly go with it and throw our conscience and common sense out the window just for a billionaire's gold pile to get a little bigger. And although yes, Infinity Nikki is a super cute game that's actually really enjoyable when taking out the gacha part, I can't ignore that the gacha part is quite literally embedded in it. Even if these are pretty sparkly outfits in a video game and makeup sets and a bunch of other things, at the end of the day you are still pulling a lever in the form of a pink crystally button over and over. How is that supposed to be mentally healthy to any of us? I know the game's point is to make money, but as a person who has played this game for so long and whose frustrations come from the fact that I am genuinely attached to the good in it, I can't help but worry for the people that don't see through this, or worse, just don't care about getting lost in their spending because they're young and don't know any better, or just don't like to think about the implications of their present-day habits. I haven't spent a single dime on this game because of spite. I have been many times in a position in which I would quite literally do the math in my head while looking at the shop items and being like, well, if I got this one today, in 30 days I would technically have enough added with the free rewards I would get in the span of 30 days as well to fully pull on this banner, and I'll still have a little bit left to get the lipstick and eyeshadow from the other one. And I hate that I've gone desperate mad girl mode for stuff like that, because this game is great at getting you to feel like there will be dire consequences to you missing out out on something, God forbid. And although I don't have it in me anymore, I used to have moments in which I would struggle to snap back to reality and say, Alessia, what are you doing? You have close to 50 dresses in your closet already, and you only use like 3 of them in rotation. You don't need this. You shouldn't need anything anymore. You've been hoarding too much stuff. You need a whole walk-in closet IRL to put them in, and you wouldn't even wear them outside because you're too scared to be bold and sparkly. Okay, maybe I'm just venting a little bit at this point, but this whole video has been a vent, in case you couldn't tell. Though, fuck. As I did mention briefly at the start, I am roughly 2 weeks sober of this game, and I'm actually really happy about it, because for me, it truly was a problem, and it got me to play every single day, at least 2 hours, or even 5 to 10 to 12 on some days, and completely abandoned giving any other games on my list a shot, or any shows that I wanted to watch. And I know it may sound stupid in a way, maybe to some people, but as I said, this game, although really pretty, did a great job at getting me addicted to it. Because there are so many things it does well. The dress-up part is genuinely so much fun. For a girl who has spent her childhood drawing clothing designs and playing other dress-up themed games, this really filled a void that I didn't know was even in me to begin with. The attention to detail of every single outfit piece is insane. The materials look amazing, and I know how long it takes to truly make a proper design and how much work it is to take that to a tangible, finished product that people can wear and enjoy. There's so much work behind the scenes that goes into this game, and not just to the dress-up part, but to the environments, characters, flora, fauna, storyline, puzzle levels, quest writing, voice acting, sound effects, soundtrack. It's amazing what the employees have managed to create and bring out into the world. You can tell that there were people working on this who truly put their blood, sweat, and tears into making this as beautiful and meaningful for the girlies as they could with what they had. And I heavily respect the employees and designers and artists who worked their asses off to make this, and still do and still will, because the game is nowhere near over and will probably still be going when I'm in my late 30s, and I will do an update to this video in 15 to 20 years to make sure. But there is one more thing, just one more problem I can't keep to myself. Infold, please change the die system. Remember the 1.5 era? Yeah, well, there was one teeny tiny other thing Infold did, and it felt like a personal attack to me. And I still think about it, and I always mention it in the monthly player surveys because it affects my mental health, actually, yeah. Before 1.5, Infold softly launched the game's die system with a little something called the bouquet event, where you would collect ingredients from around the map and use them to dye this legendary level animal called the bouquet's fur. The die system was supposed to be as simple as that. You could collect fruits, flowers, and whatever other organic ingredients you find in the world, and use them to unlock color palettes in the die system menu in your closet. Sounds great, right? A free-for-all die system that makes the dress-up part of the game so much more enjoyable for everyone. Like, where could the problem with this even be? Well, maybe you spotted the odd one out already. That's right, I said free. And we can't have that. Why could we? When we could just create 3 brand new currencies that you would have to get through either a very inconvenient limited time event every couple of months or the game's shop in order to dye not a full outfit, you have but each individual piece, thus making it so you spend like 9 to 10 times even more currency than you would have had if you could unlock palettes per outfit. Isn't that genius? How they just give us solutions for problems they made us have. fuck me. I just can't let it go. This is the one thing I can't let go in, Fold. I love your game, I do, but it's so hard to defend you folks when you are also the ones responsible for the problems your game does have voluntarily, because you create them in order to sell us the cheat codes and alternatives for them. Worst part, I can't even believe the players didn't get angrier and louder about this in particular. The dye system is the one thing everyone uses when making outfits. Everyone knows the struggle of having to wait until the next dye event to dye a singular piece that you ran out of crystal for before matching with the rest of the fit. Everybody knows. Everyone feels it. It's a universal issue we all got in the Nikki community, okay? And the problem is, we all know Infolds changed their minds for profit and gave us something different than what they had promised, but no one talks about it anymore. And maybe folks who weren't around 1.5 don't even know about the bouquet event, but either way, everyone just chooses to turn a blind eye and just take everything as it is and endure the pain. And that in itself is definitely one of the biggest reasons why the game still thrives, even when it does wrong and chooses not to right it. The people will still buy things, still pull on banners, still use the dye crystals, still play the fucking game, and just put up with Infolds antics like we're a miserable married couple 25 years in who just doesn't have the energy to do anything anymore and are just together for the kids that they don't even have. What would the kids even be in this case? Like the cool things we do have in the game? I don't know. I don't want to occupy more space in your head than I already have with this video. I don't want to end this on a bad note either. I genuinely think that deep down, there's something amazing in this game. I would not have spent 700 hours plus in it if I didn't at the end of the day truly enjoy it. It is super cute. It's very fun when you have stuff to do. Not as fun when you've completed all the quests and found every chest and nook and cranny on the map and finished building your house and all you have to do is just make outfits and take pretty pictures and do the dailies and then leave and just time travel to tomorrow to start over. I'm getting negative again. Sorry. Fuck. Sorry. Listen, if you're still here listening, don't let this video stop you from, I don't know, wanting to try the game out. Maybe the reason why you clicked on this is because you're genuinely curious about it and wanted to see what a random person on the internet had to say. If Infinity Nikki genuinely does look like a lot of fun, regardless of everything I told you in this video, play it, try it. You don't have to actually pay anything to try it out and do some quests and play a little dress up and wander around the world. If you subtract the resonance menu and the shop, you have quite an amazing time skipper on your hands, my friend. And you having not played the game as much as I have means that you would have the entirety of both main quest lines from both regions the game has, and also a huge bunch of side quests as well. There's a lot of content, and honestly, Infold is great at making very sappy, gloomy quest lines that get me close to tearing up sometimes. If you're into that stuff, I think this would be a great pick for you. But do remember what I did say in this video. At the end of the day, all I did was say my opinion regarding Infinity Nikki's state. You can choose to listen, you can choose to ignore, or you can choose to play it yourself and make up an opinion of your own based on your experience with it. Either way though, no matter what you pick, I hope you have your fun, and I hope you take care of yourself along the way. That's about as much as I ever want to have to say about Infinity Nikki. Now, if you'll excuse me, I just rediscovered Dangerous by Big Data and Joywave, and I've been listening to it on repeat for hours while playing Minecraft, so I can't play it for you because of copyright reasons, obviously, but just go listen to it. It is really good. Just don't read the lyrics. And also, a 4.5-minute song. God, I miss when songs were longer. Like Ashniko, I love Trinkets, but why is it 1 minute and 50 seconds short? What are we doing? Maybe I should talk about Recession Pop next. No, fuck no, I won't. Thanks for watching.